Welcome to The Close with Krumroy. This is Ryan Krumroy. I want to say thank you so much for tuning into this podcast. We really appreciate your listenership. And for those of you that I've not spoken with in the past, I'll give a quick introduction. My name is Ryan Krumroy. I've been with Charles Aris Executive Search since 2006 and play a significant role in helping our finance corp dev practice here at the organization. That being said, today we want to take some time to introduce you to a couple of colleagues of mine that I have joining us on the podcast. I'm excited about this. We've got two senior colleagues of mine that I've worked with for a good number of years joining us here today that have really done a great job of establishing a legacy within our organization and also a very significant practice for our clients out there in the marketplace. And so without any further ado, I would like to introduce you to a colleague of mine by the name of TJ Deal and another colleague of mine by the name of Jim Etling. So TJ, let me let you take a few moments here and introduce yourself to our listening audience.
Yeah, so thanks for that, Ryan, and thanks for having me on. It's an honor. And so yeah, TJ Deal, my role here is I'm a managing director at the firm. I've been here for almost 9 years at this point, and most notably started our corporate development practice, which specializes in head of corporate development roles for private equity portfolio companies. And over the years, have definitely been proud to see the practice grow. It's gone from myself to now a double-digit team that's doing roughly 70 M&A searches a year for PE-backed businesses. And as of the last several months, I've had the honor of now leading the combined finance and corporate development practice alongside Jim.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, TJ. My hat's off to you. You've done a phenomenal job during your time at the organization, and thanks for that great introduction. Jim, if you could take some moments here and introduce yourself as well, that would be fantastic.
I'm happy to, Ryan. Thank you. And thank you, TJ, as well. So again, I'm Jim Etling, Senior Vice President here with the firm. I'm going to be celebrating 17 years this year. And I started 17 years ago to begin our finance and accounting practice. And in that practice, we specialize in placing what I refer to as the big three finance and accounting roles. So think CFOs, controllers, FP&A, almost exclusively for private equity-backed businesses. Prior to my life in executive search, I was a portfolio CFO for a number of different private equity firms. So I've had the honor of seeing what PE firms expect in those positions, what good to great looks like in those positions, and it's something that I'm incredibly passionate about.
Fantastic, Jim. Thank you so much for that. Now, gentlemen, for the listening audience here, we made a pretty significant announcement earlier this year and first quarter of 2024 that, to be fair with you, as I look back on the time that I've been with our organization, is one of the most significant strategic changes that Charles Aris has been through in modern years. And myself and others would absolutely love to hear directly from you guys as to why the companies decided to merge your two practices together. If you could share that with the audience, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah, Ryan, appreciate that. And I can kick us off. So, Jim has been here for 17 years and has done a terrific job and has earned the retirement that will be coming his way here in the next couple of years. Although, spoiler, I'm going to try and convince him to stay on and prolongate that a little bit further. But we've spent a lot of time as a leadership team really trying to figure out how do we solve for the next chapter of this practice as Jim starts to plan to kind of figuratively and probably literally sail off into the sunset, which is no easy task. Jim's a legend. He knows more about CFO recruiting than anyone you'll probably ever meet. And so, we've been working through this as a team, trying to ensure the future of this practice. And the original thinking was, okay, do we need to find a person to lead this practice going forward? But that's a tall task. Those are big shoes to fill. It'd be hard to bring somebody in to step into that role in a significant way right away. And so as I started to really spend some time, thinking more about it, it kind of started to come into picture that, this might not be a person that was a solution, but it might be an action. And that action was, combining with my practice and, had some incredible conversations with Jim and the rest of our leadership team and both the finance and accounting and corporate development teams. And, we all agreed it was a slam dunk. And really that came down to three reasons. One was, as Jim mentioned, both of our practices are almost exclusively focused on private equity portfolio companies. The second was there was just really good alignment in terms of the industries that we played in. We kind of had similar focus areas from an industry perspective. And three, there was already some really good synergies and cross-selling between the two practices, to the point where it was not uncommon for us to be working with the same sponsor on corp dev and finance searches at the same time, sometimes even at the same portfolio company. And so the thinking was, if we could somehow combine these two prolific teams under one roof, we could not only solve for the future of this practice at Charles Aris, but we could, in doing so, also give our clients an even more cohesive experience and the economies of scale that would come with it.
Yeah, TJ, let me add that. First of all, let me just thank you for the kind words. I wasn't anticipating that, but they certainly do mean a lot coming from you. So thank you. It's interesting, Ryan, when TJ approached me with this idea of merging the practices, it just immediately made sense. It made perfect sense. Just to reiterate what TJ said, each of these two practices plays some of the same positions. We worked with many of the same PE firms, and you could almost see there was enough crossover in what we did that you could almost see the synergies that were going to come from bringing these two groups together. It wasn't going to be a 2 + 2 = 4. It was pretty evident that this had the potential to be a 2 + 2 = 11. And it was really exciting to think about. And I'll tell you, it's been even more exciting to see this coming to fruition so far and how we're heading into accomplishing what we set out to do.
So Jim, thank you for that. And TJ, great insights as well. Let me ask you, what do you think the most significance is of this merger for Charles Aris and for our clients?
Yeah, Ryan, great question. So, internally, I think blending two great cultures has been really exciting just for the organization. I think that tactically, it's allowed for more specialization, right? And that's a calling card that both practices live by. And we now have individuals at the intersection of role and industry in a way like we never have before, right? You have a corporate development need in financial services. We have a unit that's all they do, right? We have a controller need in industrials. We have a unit that's all they do. A CFO role in healthcare, what have you, right? It's allowed us to become experts in these micro niches, and it's really allowing us to get to know the candidate market in a deeper way and close these searches faster than the competition. And it's been really proving out so far.
It really had. When you look at it from the outside or even from the inside, just bringing these two teams together would have been great. It would have been a great melding of two good organizations, two good groups of people that know how to work together. But I'll just go back to what TJ said. Adding the idea of specialization really stood out to be able to take this merger to the next level. Again, being able to solve for a client's needs across corporate development or finance and accounting roles with a single individual who is an expert in those areas, as well as being an expert in a significant industry, just made perfect sense. And our anticipation is that would bring significant value to our clients. And we're actually seeing that starting to happen.
That's great. So I heard some themes around market depth, synergies, alignment here from an industry standpoint as well for our clients. So all great comments, gentlemen. I can't thank you enough for your thoughts there. Let me expound on that a little bit. So as you think about the next year, maybe the next 2 years, what do you anticipate as you got to foreshadow out? What do you think is going to evolve within Charles Aris, within this finance corp dev practice that could really be game changing, not only for prospective clients that we're working or current clients, but prospective ones and future candidates and things of that sort as well? I'd love to hear your thoughts on evolution.
Ryan, in 1 year, we will have professional relationships and be on a first name basis with our first 75 candidates for any finance or corporate development search. And we're well on our way.
Yep. I'll echo what TJ just said. We'll have experts who are an inch wide and a mile deep in any specific industry that will result in finding the right individuals for our clients in very short order and being able to do it again and again and again.
TJ, Jim, great thoughts on the client side. Let me ask you your thoughts as to how this evolution of the firm, the practice here within Charles Aris, is going to actually impact candidates that we're in discussion with on a daily basis.
Yeah, Ryan, great question. For candidates, you will be working with recruiters at Charles Aris who all they do is recruit you and people like you. it's going to make for a more effective candidate relationship, a more effective candidate experience.
I'd agree 100% with that as well, TJ. When you think of it being a candidate, that candidate will get to know the Charles Aris individual who are in their industry. They'll know them personally. They'll have a relationship with them. It's not just transactional. It'll be a deep relationship. And those relationships will transfer once those candidates become our clients. So while we take care of our clients, we want to make sure that we take care of our candidates in exactly the same way.
That's fantastic. And I do think to echo on to that as well, as I've spoken with countless candidates in years past and current year as well, where those individuals have echoed a statement similar to, you know what, I've received phone calls from countless recruiters in the past that really didn't understand or appreciate the value that I brought or the market that I play in. I thank you so much for bringing me something that's actually relevant to who I am and what I do. So it sounds like we'll be able to really make sure that we hone in and further build that case with the folks that we're in discussions with. With both of you here joining us today, I'd like to ask you if you could share one piece of advice that you might be able to offer to the private equity firms that are tuning into this right now, maybe the managing directors, the vice presidents, the associates, whomever it may be. If you think about a piece of advice that you would offer concerning talent acquisition or leadership development within the operating companies themselves that they own, what might you offer?
Yeah, Ryan, I think mine would probably be do not take your foot off the gas once the offer is signed. The war and battle for talent is so intense right now in these two functions of finance and corporate development that you need to stay close to these clients from the day they sign up until the day that they start. And the clients that we're seeing this do this best are literally putting together plans to stay close to the candidate from the day they sign through resignation to day one, because you know that with top talent in this space, you know, the company they're leaving is going to put up a historic fight to try and keep them, even after they've told them that they're going to be leaving.
That's really good advice, TJ. And to keep in the vein of keeping your foot on the gas, my piece of advice is just simply speed, is move quickly. That comes naturally in the private equity world, but for some reason, when it comes to hiring people, we want to see 3 or 4 people before we make a decision. And the day and age of that being the norm is really gone. If you see that person, hire them, and then follow the advice that TJ just gave.
Strike while the iron is hot with decisiveness and commitment and see it through. I think that's what I just heard from the two of you. I would absolutely agree with both of you here. The war for talent is real. The cadence of which companies have to execute is significant. So great counsel, great sage advice. I want to say thank you so much to both Jim Etling and TJ Deal. You guys have been great to have on the podcast. You've also been great strategic business partners for the years that we've worked together. For our listening audience, I just want to say if there's something that you've heard today that struck an chord with you, we'd love to have a further conversation with you. We'd love to set up some time to talk through whether or not you have strategic needs within your businesses that we can be a solvable resource for. Our lines are always open. We'd love to hear from you. We thank you so much for tuning in. Please be sure to share this podcast with others as well. We hope you have a great week. So thanks so much for joining Close with Krumroy. Signing off, Ryan Krumroy. Thanks, folks.